let's close our eyes, and we'll take a few deep breaths in through our nose, and then big exhale, hot, out from our mouths. One more, exhale. Feel your shoulders relax, our sitting bones root into our mats. And then we'll seal our lips and inhale and exhale through our nose. And then inhale, we'll lift those hands way up high above us. Drop the shoulders away from our ears. Wiggle the fingers. And then exhale, we'll just hinge forward, bringing the hands in front of us. And we'll just do a little forward fold, even just round in the back as we fold. Tuck the chin, relax the shoulders. And then on our next inhale, we'll just walk those hands back. We'll lift our chest back up to seated. Hands can come up above our heads. And then exhale, let's make the big circle back behind us, and we'll place our hands back behind us. We'll pull the shoulders back, lift the chest. Elevate our nose. And then coming back up to seated, backward circles all the way up to the sky with those arms. And then exhale, let's fold forward again, rounding in the spine. And slowly we'll roll our way up, hands come up high. Exhale them back behind us, fingers and then palms press into the mat, lifting the heart, pulling those shoulders back. And then slowly we'll come back up to seated, inhale, back up to the sky. And then exhale, we'll just let those hands come back down to our knees. Lengthen on that next inhale, and then exhale, we'll walk our hands around to one side. Little twist here, nothing huge. We're not forcing ourselves, we're just waking up that spine, giving it a little bit of a nudge. And then back to the center. Lengthen on that inhale, and then exhale, we'll walk those hands over to the other side. And then back to the center. Inhale those hands nice and high. And then exhale, let's hinge and bring those chests forward into a forward fold, this time straight back. Press those sitting bones down into our mats, reaching forward with the fingers. And then slowly walking our hands back up to seated. We'll uncross those legs. We can give our feet a little bit of a wiggle. And then we're going to lower down onto our backs. And roll up into our little egg at first if we would like. Hug those knees into our chest. Good. And then we'll release the legs. We'll keep the knees bent. Our shoulders and our arms and our head can just relax onto the ground here. And we'll just do some little windshield wipers with our knees. So inhale here, feel our whole spine pressing into our mat. And then as we exhale, we'll let those knees drop to one side. And then inhale back up to the top. And then exhale, we'll bring the knees over to the other side. Inhale up and exhale down, just moving slowly and with purpose, coordinating our movements with our breath. Let's do one more to each side. Inhale, lengthen in that spine. Even though we're laying down, we can still feel the length in the spine. And then exhale, we'll relax and let those knees fall to the side. And then inhale again. Exhale down. Good. And then back up to the center. We'll hug those knees into our chest, tuck our chin, roll up into our egg. Good. And then exhale. Let's release those feet back down to the floor, all the way up here by our butts. Again, hands can find the floor. We'll tuck those shoulders underneath of us. And then begin to tuck the tail as well. Feel that low back pressing into the mat. The more we tuck, the more our glutes begin to fire, our thighs are working, we begin to lift those hips up off of the ground, all the way up into a bridge. And then exhale, let's lower, starting at the top of our spine, one little vertebra at a time, until the whole spine is back down. Inhale. Begin at the bottom and lift all the way up to the top. And exhale, top, lowering down. Good. One more time. Inhale, we lift. Let's stay here for like 1 or 2 breaths. And then exhale all the way down to the mat. Tuck that tail so that the whole low back will find the floor. We'll bring our right knee in and just hug that buddy in. We can keep the left knee bent. Just gonna hug that right knee in. And then we'll release. Foot comes back down to the floor and we'll go over to the other side. Hug the left knee. And then release. And then let's bring those knees back up to like a 90 degree in our hips And then about a 90-ish degree in our knees as well. Feet can be flexed in a good posture here, keeping that hinge in the hips, and then we'll lift our hands up toward the sky. Relaxing the shoulders down into our mats, we should feel again, or continue to feel, our whole spine into the ground. Take a few deep breaths here into our bellies, and we should feel that belly move toward the thigh here. We should feel our back muscles begin to activate and press into our mats. And now let's walk around like a mostly dead bug. So we're just going to lower that right leg down, hinging only at the hips, not arching in the back. So we get that spot where we're just about to move the back, right? And then we'll come back up. And then exhale, hinge at the hips. Slowly lower that foot back down. When we get to a point where we are starting to lift, we come back. Exhale, right leg will come down and back up. And left leg and back up. And now let's come back up to our arms. So right arm will come down, up above our head, and then up. Keep breathing into that belly. Exhale, left arm. And back up. And the right arm. And back up. Last time with the left. Good. And back up. Now let's see if we can coordinate. We're just going to move the right leg and the left arm. And back. Other side, left leg, right arm. This should take a little bit of effort. If you're feeling like, oh man, I'm getting kind of tired, this shouldn't be. Well, no, you're absolutely wrong. You should be tired here because this is actually hard work. Just walking in the air like a little beetle that has gone flipped over. Let's do one more to each side. And the last one. Good. And now let's roll up into our egg. A couple big deep breaths here. Good. And then exhale. Let's release those feet back down to the floor. We're going to take that right leg. We're just going to cross the ankle over the left knee into a bit of a figure four here. Think about this right knee moving away from our body, opening up in the hips. Take a breath here. And then when we're ready, if we're ready, we can lift at that left foot off of the floor, reach through and hold onto the back of the thigh over on the hamstring, continuing to move that right knee away. And slowly, we encourage that left leg to come towards us. So one leg is going towards us, the other leg is going away. Good. And then slowly we'll release that left leg. We'll place the left foot onto the floor, keeping the right leg crossed. We're going to move both legs over to the left. Take 2 or 3 breaths here. We should feel an opening in the front of that right hip, a little twist in the spine. And now let's take this right arm and reach for our right toes. And then slowly we'll come back. And exhale, we'll reach for those right toes. And then exhale, coming back to the ground with that shoulder. Inhale, reach, little twist. Exhale back. One more time. Inhale, we reach. And exhale, back to the floor. We'll bring our legs back to the center, unwind. We'll go over to the other side. So second side, left leg crosses over the right knee, moving that left knee away. And then if and when we're ready, we can lift up the left or the right foot, holding behind the thigh. And then exhale, we'll release that right foot back down to the ground. And keeping the cross, we're just going to let those legs fall over to the side. Should feel, again, some opening in the front of the hip, continuing to open up in the side of this left hip. And then let's take that left arm and we'll begin to reach over for those left toes. And then exhale, we'll come back. Inhale, reach. And exhale back. And we'll do one more. Inhale, reach toward those toes. And then exhale, we come back to the ground. Both arms can be nice and relaxed. We unwind those legs. We can come back into our little egg. Good. And now we'll hold on behind our thighs and just begin to rock and roll all the way up until we can come all the way up to seated. Feet can come to the floor. Give ourselves a bit of a wiggle here. And then we can cross our legs, hands come to the floor. We'll roll over those shins and up onto our hands and our knees, into our tabletop. Good. Pulling those shoulders back, pressing into the ground. Tuck the tail just a bit. Get rid of the little sway in our back. Knees are underneath of our hips. Good. And then inhale. Let's reach out with that right arm and press back with the left foot. Now our beetle finally flipped over. Good. Exhale back down. And inhale, left arm, right foot. And back down. Again, right hand, left foot, reaching with those fingers, pressing with the heel. Turn the toes down toward the mat. Breathe into our belly. And now exhale, let's bring that elbow and the knee together underneath by our tummy. We'll round in the spine. And then inhale, we'll lengthen. Exhale, we'll round. Inhale, we'll lengthen. Exhale, we'll round. One more time. Inhale, let's lengthen nice and long. And now we'll take that right arm, reach back behind. We'll bend that left knee and we'll try and find those toes behind us. Kick into the hand with the foot. Open up the chest. But again, try and keep that left hip down to meet the right. And then gently we'll release. Find our tabletop again. Second side. Left hand, right foot. And now exhale, we'll round, and as we touch the elbow and the knee together. And then inhale, lengthen. Exhale, we'll round. And lengthen. And round on that exhale. And round one more time. And we'll lengthen, find that balance. And then we'll reach back and try and grab the toes or the ankle. Open up the chest, the shoulder, the front body, a little arch in the back. And then gently we'll release. Find that length one last time. And then exhale down to our tabletop. Let's round as we exhale again. Arch as we inhale. Back to that tabletop. And we'll rest our feet on the floor. We'll bring those hips back to our heels. Arms come out in front of us for a child's pose. Good. Keeping our hips over our heels, we're just going to walk those hands over to the right, reaching the left hand across the body, sitting that left hip back down. And then we'll come back to the center. Set those hips nice and low, chest is still low, and then we'll walk those hands over to the left. And then back to the center. Let's Reach those fingers a little bit further. Keep the hips where they're at. We're just really stretching those arms out. And then we'll flip those hands so that they're facing toward the sky. Sink the chest down. We should feel a little bit of sensation in our armpits, in our pecs, into our triceps. And then let's place those hands back down onto our mats. Fingers are wide, pressing each individual digit into our mats, pulling the shoulders away from our ears. Breathe into our bellies. Let's inhale up to a little plank, bringing our shoulders over our wrists. Our legs, our feet are still soft behind us, pressing into those fingers, tucking the tail, and then just let those hips begin to slowly lower down. And then we'll slowly let that chest come down as well. Hands are underneath of our shoulders. We'll pull those buddies nice and far back. You can already start to feel your chest begin to lift. Hands are just there for stability, not necessarily to push, but we'll just bring that chest forward. Use those back muscles to help lift the chest up off of the floor. And then exhale back down. So let's think about baby cobra as an opening in this low back as opposed to a crunch. So instead of just lifting straight up, and we see that we can feel right there in the low back, it just wants to pinch. If we bring that chest forward and then scoop our way up, we're making a little bit bigger of an arc as opposed to an angle as we lift our chest. And that should relieve some of the pinching sensation. And then exhale, we'll lower back down. Take a breath. And now we will press into our mats with our hands. Same thing though, our chests will come forward, our hips will come forward a little bit, and then we're just gonna come all the way up into upward facing dog. So everything lifts up off of the mat except for the tops of our feet, and our hands, our thighs are just barely up above our mats. Hips are coming forward, chests are reaching out in front of us. And then we'll lower those knees. We'll round as we slowly come back to our child's pose. Really rounding, tucking the chin, sitting those hips back by our heels. And then inhale, let's come up to our tabletop again. We're gonna bring this right foot forward to the outside of our hands. Left knee is on the mat. Left foot can be soft or it can tuck, whatever you like. Wiggle your way into our lizard pose here. Open up those hips. And now let's lift up that right hand, little twist here, sink the hips down, open up the chest. And now let's place that right hand onto the thigh. We're still twisting those shoulders. We're beginning to lower the hips, sinking down, turning the shoulders as if we want to look back behind us, keeping a length in our spine as we slowly rotate around, sinking the hips down. We can open up this right knee just a little bit. And we'll come back to the center. Both hands find the floor. We're going to find that balance as we come up to a high lunge, high half lunge. And now we're going to bring those hands down to our hearts, pressing the palms together, lengthen in the spine. And we're going to take this left elbow all the way around to the right knee. And then we'll slowly unwind. Hands can find the floor again. We'll step back. Find our child's pose for 2 breaths here. And then we'll move on to the second side. So we'll inhale up to our tabletop. Bring that left leg around. Set ourselves up into our lizard pose or our low lunge. And then when we're ready, inhaling, lifting the left hand up to the sky, opening up the chest. And then we can just lower that left hand to the thigh. Keep the twist in those shoulders. Can open up that left knee a little bit as we slowly sink that right hip down toward our mat. Again, keeping the length in that spine, the activity along in our body to support ourselves as opposed to just dropping how everything is loaded up into that shoulder in a weird way. And then let's unwind. Both hands can find the floor for just a moment. As we get ourselves situated, we'll lift our hands up to the sky. And then bringing those hands to our hearts, pressing into those palms to pull the shoulders back, open up that chest, and then we'll revolve on that next exhale. Right elbow to the left knee, using the pressure of our hands to keep those shoulders opening, using our breath to help our spine twist, our hips sink. And then slowly we'll unwind. Hands find the floor. We're going to tuck this right toe back behind us so that we can come up to a little bit more of a full lunge, and then we're going to step forward with that right foot to meet the left, and we'll find ourselves in a forward fold. Take some time, wiggle things out if we need. And then once we've gotten our wiggles out, find our feet about hip width apart. We'll bend those knees, we'll lower the chest, relax the head, and then begin to slowly lengthen in the legs. And now inhale to a flat back. Hands can come to the shins, to the floor. Lengthen in that spine, lengthen in the legs, and then keep that hinge in the hips as we continue to fold forward. Releasing the hands down toward our mats. And then let's bend those knees. Really, really deeply. We'll walk those feet a little bit wider, point the toes out to the corners of the room so that we can lower that butt all the way down. Lift the heart. Hands can come together right here at our chest. And then the hands can come down to the floor as we help ourselves all the way down to our butts. Feet are out in front of us. We're going to keep that right leg nice and long out in front of us. Left foot is going to come to the inside of that right thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Lengthen here in the spine. First, what we're going to do is a little twist. So much like what we did earlier at the beginning of our practice, we're just going to walk those hands around to the left. Right hand can come to the outside of the thigh. Left hand finds its spot behind our bum as a support to our spine to keep that spine nice and tall. Not here. Nice and tall. Lengthen on those inhales. Deepen the twist on the exhale. See if we cannot pull that knee up. Just let it relax. One more breath here. And then we'll slowly unwind. Inhale, hands come up high. And we're going to turn again towards this left knee for just a moment. Well, we're going to keep turning, but then we're going to bring our arms over to the right. We'll lower that right elbow to the inside of our leg. Left arm reaches up and over. We're pressing that left hip into the ground, opening up that whole side body. And now if we would like, we can kind of play with the gaze. We can move our head up toward the sky, or maybe we look down toward our knee. Keeping that neck nice and soft. And now let's turn those shoulders down toward the mat. Both hands can find the floor out in front of us for a little forward fold here. And then slowly helping ourselves back up to the top. Good. And now we're going to keep this left leg bent out in front of us. We may bring the foot a little bit further so it's parallel to the front of our mat if we were actually looking at the front of our mat. I'm a little cockeyed, but we want it to be parallel to our hips, say. And now we're just going to take this right foot and we're going to place it on top of the left knee. Now this one can get a little bit crazy intense. Notice I'm holding that right knee to just ease it down. What we're kind of looking for is an equal sign with our legs. Both legs are parallel to our hips. Our feet are flexed to help protect our knees. If this is tough on our knees, we can prop it up or maybe just help it with our hands to find the spot where it wants to be at this moment. Big, deep breaths. This pose used to make me cry, literally in the middle of class. So if it is tough, it's okay. We'll just deal. We modify, we come out of it, or we cry. Good. And now we'll slowly unwind those legs. Give them a little shake. And then we'll move over to the other side. So our left leg will be out nice and long. Right foot can come into the thigh for Janu Shirshasana. Flexing the left foot. Nice tall spine here. When we're ready, exhale. We'll do a little twist. Hopefully this twist feels a little bit easier than when we were doing it at the very beginning of our practice, now that we have moved around. And then slowly we'll come back to the center. Inhale, hands come up high. And then again, we'll turn toward that right knee. And then when we're ready, slowly we'll bend right over, lay that left arm down inside its leg. Right arm reaches up and over. We're working on stacking the shoulders, pressing that right hip into our mat. Lengthening. And breathing. And then again, if we would like, we can kind of play with our gaze. See if it changes how things feel if we move our gaze to the sky or down to our knee. One more inhale here. Exhale, let's turn those shoulders down toward the ground. Both hands can find a spot right here in the center, little forward fold. And then we'll slowly walk our hands backwards up to seated. We'll bring that right foot out just a little bit. Bend that left knee. Place the ankle over the right knee. And then encourage that left hip to come down. Nice tall spine here. Big breaths. Let those hips relax. Remind them there's nothing to be afraid of. Good. And then slowly lean back, unwind those legs. Give them a little shaky shake. And then we'll come all the way back down onto our backs, roll up into our egg. And then let's lift those legs up to the sky, flex the feet, and we'll just touch behind the thighs or the knees, maybe the calves. Keep that low back and the tail pressing into the floor as we slowly encourage, just urge those legs to come forward just a little bit. If we need to bend the knees a little bit, that's totally acceptable. It is absolutely fine. We're doing what our body is allowing us to do. And now let's bend those knees. Hold them into our chest for one breath. Good. Let's lift up that right leg nice and tall. Flex the foot again. We'll hold behind the knee or the thigh. And then the left leg comes up. And we're just going to, with our breath, exhale, it will go down. And then inhale, it will come up. All the while, we're urging this right leg towards us. Good. Let's inhale, bringing it up one more time. And then exhale, let's lower that left leg down to the ground. We'll bend the right knee, hug it tight, tight, tight into our body. And then we'll release the right leg and guide it over across our body for a little spinal twist. And then let's come back to the center, both knees into our chest. And we'll extend that left leg up to the sky, holding behind it, just encouraging it to come towards us, keeping that tailbone to the floor, right leg reaches up, and then again with our breath, we'll exhale it down and inhale it up. Let's do one more inhale up. Exhale, we'll lower it all the way down. Let it stay on the ground. We'll bend this left leg, hug the knee in tight to our body. And then we'll release the leg, guide it across. And then we'll unwind. One last time into our egg. One deep inhale here. And then exhale our Shavasana. Find a place where our body can just be. With our breath, we just let our whole self just soften and relax. Our bodies, our mind, our breath just becomes easy. We begin to deepen our breath. We wiggle our fingers and our toes. Become aware of our body again. Come back into our space. And when we're ready, we'll just slowly help ourselves back up to seated. Our eyes are closed. Taking special care not to disturb the feelings that we have just created within us. We inhale, lift our hands up to the sky, bringing our hands together at the top and exhaling them down to our hearts with gratitude. Take this time to give ourselves thanks for all of the gifts that we give ourselves. Thank you to those who share their gifts with us, as I am grateful of you sharing your time with me, allowing me to help you through your practice. I am so, so grateful. The light in the divine in me recognizes and respects the light in the divine in you, and when we are together, whether physically or virtually, we are one. Namaste.